Tales from the wild. Stories from the heart. A journey into the mind and soul of fired-up business professionals where they share their vision for the future. And hear from a different non-profit organization every month as they create awareness of their goals and their needs. Dive into a world of untamed passion as we join our host, Shireen Buerta, for this month's episode of Friends from Wild Places.
Well, good morning, Shireen here. I am your virtual boutique bookkeeper and QuickBooks Pro advisor. You started your business to do what you love, which means it's not to spend time and spend your nights drowning in spreadsheets and crumpled up receipts and unpaid invoices. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But now, even more so, since tax season is looming, your books are a mess. They're months behind, and you're left wondering, did I even miss a deadline? Did I leave money on the table? Don't head into another year guessing if you've maximized your deductions or if your records will actually hold up under pressure, right? It's time to start the year on a high note. Get your books organized, accurate, and stress-free. That's where Shireen's bookkeeping services come in. We handle the numbers so you can handle the business. Visit shireensbookkeeping.com and email me today and allow me to keep your books clean so you don't have to. Welcome back, listeners. You are listening to Friends from Wild Places with myself, Shireen, and my amazing co-host, Tanya. Tanya, how are you doing? And let the listeners know about our subscription.
Yes. Well, good morning, everyone, to our listeners and to our amazing guests this morning, which will have a fun time. And thank you, Shireen, for a wonderful introduction. So at Friends from Wild Places, we have our featured guests monthly. And those are usually broken up into 3 specific episodes. But besides that, we also have our bonus content. So for as little as $5 a month, you can subscribe and get privy to behind the scenes, unedited, raw material. We go dive deeper into specific subjects, and we're able to actually go deeper onto subjects that you may want to feel beneficial from. So whatever it is that you're looking for, maybe a subject that's been bothering you or something that you would like more insight, by all means, just drop us a line and we'd be happy to feature that. So for as little as $5 a month, you can get behind the scenes, unedited content from Friends from Wild Places. So back to you, Shireen.
Thank you, Tanya. I really appreciate it. Yes, listeners, today we have a very special guest, Anila Nicklos. We would love to welcome you here. Listeners, what does it take to leave your homeland, rebuild your identity in a new country, and transform that journey into a mission to help others rise? Well, today's guest, Anila, knows that story firsthand. Originally from Tirana, Albania, Anila came to the United States carrying not just ambition, but courage, navigating cultural transition, language barriers, and the quiet determination to belong while staying true to who she is. That lived experience didn't just shape her path, it defined her purpose. So today, Anila is a leadership expert, diversity strategist, and community advocate committed to helping people and organizations unlock their beautiful potential. She serves as the Director of Strategic Partnerships at iCare Mobile Medicine, where she builds strategic collaborations that expand innovative healthcare access and strengthen communities. We are so excited. Please welcome Anila Nicklos. Welcome. We are actually I've been looking forward to this one. So thanks, Anila, for agreeing to join us.
It's such a pleasure and a privilege to be with both of you today. I am honored.
Yes, absolutely. Your story is very inspiring, so I'm excited to get a little deeper on that. But first of all, it's the part right in the beginning where us little crime enthusiasts like to chat about some of the true crime that's going on right now, right? I love it. Tanya loves it. We're always in it. We want to know, we want to know the latest. But this one's quite interesting. And I'm actually wondering by the last name of this gentleman. He sounds Afrikaans, South African Afrikaans, which is quite strange. I'm interested to actually see where his history lies. But nevertheless, sorry, I digress. So the case that I want to talk to you guys about today is the Koenig case. It's a high-profile attempted murder trial in Hawaii involving Maui anesthesiologist Dr. Gerard Koenig. So not his last name, it's his first name. Gerard is very Afrikaans in South Africa, so that's why I wondered. So the incident. During a birthday hike on Oahu's Pali Puka Trail, Gerard allegedly attacked his wife, Ariel Koenig. Prosecutors claim he tried to push her off a cliff, attempted to inject her with a syringe, and struck her with a lava rock. 2 hikers intervened after hearing her screams, and Gerard was arrested following an 8-hour manhunt. So the charge is a second-degree attempted murder, because she's still alive. The prosecution argues the attack was premeditated, citing a FaceTime call where Gerard allegedly told his son, "I tried to kill Ari," his wife. Defense claims self-defense, arguing Ariel attacked first after being confronted about alleged affair. Current status, it's March now, so I think it's ongoing. In fact, I think it's come to an end. I must actually check today and see where we're at with that. But so my question to you, ladies, and to the listeners is the trial hinges on what happened in total isolation on that trail, right? So if you were in a situation where it was just your word against someone else's with no witnesses, what's the one thing about your character that you'd hope would convince a jury you'd be telling the truth? Who wants to go first? Tanya, do you want to answer that?
Sure. Yes, so I've been following I've been following it from its inception. And for me personally, I think, the integrity piece, as far as, people that know me, as far as, my close, intimate circle of friends, know that I don't exaggerate and I don't embellish, so it's pretty factual. So I think, if you have a close circle of friends, whether it's 1, 2, 3 people, or maybe even a couple of more, I think the consistency amongst what I would relay does not differ from person to person. So therefore, if it was, for example, like me in her situation, let's just use that as an example, I think if they surveyed my friends, the information would be consistent. Now, of course, with friends, there may be some friends that you either confide in more, or family members, or whoever you choose to adopt as family. But I think that would be consistent. So again, the information may be given more or less depending on how close I am with the folks, but I think it's not going to differ. So for me, that's what I would base it on, would be the integrity piece, and the information would be consistent. Also, from this specific case in particular, I just feel that, when you are alone with a perpetrator, it is your word against the other person, right? And literally, it's like 2 sides to every story, 2 sides to every coin. The old adage is, the truth is somewhere in the middle. So for people who know me, I feel that my truth is somewhere in the middle. I will give the other party as much leeway, but I don't embellish. So I think that would be my answer to your question, Shireen.
A good answer, Tanya. I love that. Anila, what about yourself?
Yeah, that was a good answer. Absolutely. Very thorough, Tanya, as always. I think I would, connect with what Tanya shared. The integrity piece is very important, and the consistency is very important. What comes to play, I think, to what happened in the isolation is also taking in consideration that this sort of interaction amongst them had been brewing starting with the incident. And so I believe the emotional part of the entire, experience that they were having with one another, it sort of culminated in this isolated environment. And being in an isolated environment like that, and then trying to see how I could tell my story being with one person, and it's he said, she said, I would probably go back to also looking at what is my sort of, uh, you know, what do people say about me when I'm not in the rooms? How do they feel about me? What kind of impact have I made to others? What are all these external, connections that I have and people that I work with, that I interact with? What do they think about me? Am I being consistent with my values? Am I being consistent with how I live my life in general? So I think integrity is absolutely number one. And then also, what do other people think in general about you as a person? What sort of legacy have you left, with your actions, with how you contribute to others in their lives? So one thing about this particular case that I had the opportunity to also listen to one of the interviews when Mr. Koenig was talking about how did all these things come together from the inception all the way to where they are right now. And I think one of the things that brought them to the isolation piece and what happened in that is that, per my knowledge, I don't think they addressed the psychological impact of what was happening in their life, and they brought them to that situation. For me, I would choose to have taken action to make whatever incident or accident or conversation or fight not get to that level to begin with, and find resources, reach out to our friends, reach out to our support, reach out to our family, so that we don't get to that particular stance where they had to resort to that.
Love that. That's so true. And I love that answer, Anila. I think for me, it's the angle of nothing to gain. At the end of the day, I would hope the jury sees that I have zero motive to lie. And that my character is, which again would be from friends, colleagues, family members, that, they know that my character is built on being someone who owns their ugly truths. That's just always been me. So, yeah, I'd hope based on that simply that they would think I've absolutely, no reason to lie about the situation. But yeah, it's quite an interesting case. So thank you for your input, ladies. I really appreciate that. But let's move on to the quote of the day, which was given to us by Anila herself. And we love our quotes because everyone needs a little bit of inspiration, right? I think everyone's used to us. Every single month we have quote of the day. And it's important because no one can go through life without encouragement, inspiration of some kind to keep going. We're living in quite a treacherous world. We're going through some serious things in this world, and I think it's only natural and human to want to give up and to lose hope. And so our quotes of the day are here to inspire you to keep going, as well as the stories of our guests. But more importantly, it's the quote to remember. It's a catchy quote so that you can continue taking it on into your day and into your week to come. So today's quote is actually from Mother Teresa. Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. So tell me, Anila, what does that quote mean to you? We'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. And I think I would love to start by saying that Mother Teresa is of Albanian blood. And I find out that some people do know that and some people don't. But it's such a prideful moment for us as a country to have someone of the stature of Mother Teresa to represent one of our main traditions and one of the main things that Albanians are known of, which is hospitality. Our house is the house of God and guests. And so having Mother Teresa doing just that, giving up her life as, let's say, as a citizen, and yet she chose a complete different path. And she became a nun and she rose through the ranks into the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. Inspires me immensely. So when I look at Mother Teresa, I see from the years that I was able to connect, via TV and the information and the media, because we were not allowed in our country to even know what was going on around the world. We didn't know up to a point that Mother Teresa was out there and doing great things. So one of the things that Mother Teresa has done that I personally have a know is that one of the bishops in the Catholic Church was invited to reach out to Mother Teresa and tell her that they had an endowment in the amount of, I believe, $300,000, and they wanted her to take this fund and put it into great use in Calcutta, where she and her sisters were praying every day, were begging every day, so that they can make the life of others who were underserved a bit better. So it's a beautiful story where the bishop keeps going back and forth with Mother Teresa, and Mother Teresa says, "No, I'm not taking that money. Thank you very much." We have our sisters, they go to beg for money every single day. That's how they keep themselves committed to their mission and what they're doing, to their purpose. And it just struck me so much. And then when I read the quote, I was even more connected with her because I knew what it meant. Mm-hmm. They were doing great, small things, but with great love. They provided love to people who may have never experienced love, whether through parents or through siblings or through others that supported them. So a support system, I should say. And having Mother Teresa be able to provide that sort of kindness and love and support to people that were not seen by anyone else, it just gives me so much inspiration. And I often use the quote because I think there's so much to be gained by just going deep into that quote.
It's beautiful, beautiful, Anila, beautiful.
Thank you, Tanya.
I think you're very well-spoken, Anila. I don't know if anyone's told you that before. So it's lovely to
thank you so much
to hear you tell us that story. And I actually didn't know that about Mother Teresa, so that's very cool. So one of the questions I have to kick it off, let's just get straight into it. You've spoken about the quiet determination to belong, right? Looking back at your journey from Albania, what was the hardest part of your identity to translate into a new culture?
I think there were several, as you can imagine when someone moves from another country overnight, they lose their support system, they lose their identity, they're in culture shock, they're disoriented. One of the hardest thing that I think I have come around the corner with that would be my writing. So when I moved to America, I had started to be published already in Albania. And I had thought about becoming a professor of literature and then also write critical articles, about literature, about authors that were so close to my heart that was my journey. And so I had started to be published. And I remember my mentor said to me about particularly one of the short stories that was published in the most prestigious literature magazine in Albania. We go to the club, to the literary club, to have tea. And then one of the famous authors comes to me and he shakes hands with me. And I was like, why is he shaking hands? He doesn't know me. So my mentor said, Anila, he loved your short story. That's why he's shaking hands with you. So I had just prepared myself. I had been doing work in that direction. And then I moved to America. And then no one can read my short stories. Apparently, Americans don't read Albanian. And so then this became the part that I had to reinvent myself. What was that other thing? What was that other career that I can transfer my skills and still be, where I want to be, in a very good position in terms of being successful. And so that was the hardest part. Ever since then, I was the editor of the Albanian American newspaper in Cleveland for 7 years. So I wrote journalistic articles. I wrote in Albanian, but I also started writing in English. And I remember in 2004, 2005, I had invited my mentor who lived in Albania, an amazing human being. I had invited him to visit Cleveland. And then I became his agent, in quotes, to represent his work and connect him with the artistic world in Cleveland. I wrote articles about his journey as well. And then he said to me, Anita, I love the way you write the articles. And up to that point, I didn't feel completed, let's say artistically, in a journalistic sort of article, because my passion is fiction. So I have to share with you ladies, maybe 10 years ago, I started writing fiction and it's in English. And the first day that I was able to write that short story, I was so proud of myself. I was just like, you did it. You did it. And so that would be one of the hardest things, like translating my career into the new environment.
Lovely.
So inspiring. Yeah, so inspiring, Anila, really. Tune in next week for part 2 from Friends from Wild Places.
You've been listening to Friends from Wild Places with Shireen Bueta. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast from the links to catch every episode and unleash your passion.